Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my prediction for UFC Fight Night 69, Jedrzejczyk versus Penne, which happens on June 20th on UFC Fight Pass. Overall, you know what, there actually aren't too... It's good in the sense that there are some pretty decent prospects here. Sasaki versus Lapilus, those are, pretty good prospects there. Not blue chippers by any means. Magomed and Mustafaev, who is actually the number 2 welterweight prospect in the Bloody Elbow 2015 scouting reports fighting. He's fighting a really solid fighter in Piotr Hallmann. Scott Askham, one of the top middleweight prospects. Niklas Backstrom. And actually you can say Noad Lahat. They're both prospects. Backstrom was actually set to... many found him to be a blue chipper. Mairbek Taisumov, good prospect, really good striking. Mr. Finland's fighting. He's fun to watch. Hard to say his ceiling. Main event's really good. I'm a huge fan of Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I can't foresee, just based on skill sets, anyone toppling her. I can see many being competitive with her, but I don't know if they can defeat her. Otherwise, let's get started. So Joanna, champion Jedrzejczyk, fights Jessica Penne. Penne has a 12-2 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. She's 32 years old on a 2-fight win streak, most recently beating Ronda Marcos. She trains out of Alliance. She is a former Invicta FC Atomweight champion. She has some strong Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She's really good off her back, to the point where she'll actually pull guard because she has really strong sweeps and reversals. She's real flexible too. She can be in side mount on the bottom and kick her legs up to get an armbar from there. Stand-up's average, she actually has a decent jab. She's going to be relatively small for the weight class in the sense of, not in the sense of height, but just relatively, she used to fight at atomweight. She's just, I don't know how else to say, she's just not big for the weight class. I'm not talking height-wise either, muscular-wise or whatever. Her offensive takedown ability is actually pretty good. She has good trips, actually. They're pretty sneaky takedowns. One of Penne's problems, though, is that she has no power in her striking. She is just not a heavy-handed fighter. Joanna Jedrzejczyk, 9-0 undefeated record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. 27 years old. She is a UFC women's strawweight champion. She has some strong... It's both, just like Muay Thai and boxing. Her hands are good, but she actually has a good clinch game. I'd say she's more boxer than anything else, because she does utilize the boxing angles and whatnot, and more boxing movement. She's pretty heavy-handed. One of the few heavy-handed women's strawweights out there. Her takedown defense is really good. Watch her fight against Carla Esparza. Just defend takedown, elbow. Defend takedown, elbow on the break. It was great stuff. She's just good at sprawling. Even Coletta Gadelha had a hard time taking her down too. Strong counter wrestling. If you take her down, she's able to get back to her feet. Like I said, her clinch striking is improving. Penne's good, but Joanna Jedrzejczyk honestly has the makings of a dominant champion. But we just saw Cain Velasquez lose to Fabricio Verdum. We just saw Rafael Dos Anjos beat Anthony Pettis. So no matter how dominant a champion looks, just on paper, that's not to say that they're not fighting elite level competition. And strawweight's just a good weight class. It's not like women's bantamweight where you have Ronda Rousey and like everyone else. And Rousey has such a superior athleticism, a superior singular skill set. I mean, no one's going to beat her judo grappling / submission grappling game. She's been doing it since she was a kid. You know, I mean, no one's going to beat her there, you know. Here, yeah, I can actually see people, some of her competition eventually matching her, young Jedrzejczyk stand-up. Alexa Grasso, I think, is a very solid boxer. I think Jamie Moyle can get up there. Into UFC, I mean, everyone says Van Zandt. Maybe her wrestling can get her there. I still have a lot of questions about Van Zandt. Who else? I'm missing some really good prospects in women's strawweight. Besides who I just named in the UFC. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm getting off topic. Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I know Penne's never been knocked out, KO'd or TKO, but I'm going to go with Joanna Jedrzejczyk, finished by strikes. Simply put, Jedrzejczyk should be the better striker than Penne. And I can't see Penne getting the takedowns or even being able to pull guard on Jedrzejczyk. See this kind of like the Sparza fight, except I feel that Penne can be a little more craftier. Whereas, like, Carla, it's like, if she can't get her takedowns, she's, like, done. She doesn't really have anything else. She can't really strike. I don't think Penne can strike with Jedrzejczyk, but like I said, Penne can actually pull guard and do well. So there's always that in her back pocket. She can pull guard. She can go for her own offensive takedowns, force scrambles, take the back, in different positions. So she has ways of winning. I just can't see it. Joanna Jedrzejczyk, I think she defends takedowns, keeps the fight standing, beats up Penne on defeat. She should beat a much bigger fighter. Jedrzejczyk's fought at 125 and didn't even look undersized in that weight class. Penne's fought as low as atomweight. Joanna Jedrzejczyk by KO or TKO for the win. Next fight is that. Tatsuya Kawajiri fights Dennis Siver. Good fight. Actually, both of their ages are very close. Siver's 36, Kawajiri's 37. With Kawajiri, he has a 33-8 record with 2 draws, 12 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. Has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 3 losses by sub. 37 years old. He last fought in April of 2014. He's a strong wrestler, real relentless about getting takedowns. His top control is really good. It's suffocating. Strong ground and pound. His stand-up's, like, good. I'd say it's more average than anything else, but, he can strike for sure. Dennis Siver, 22-10 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. That's his 3 losses by KO or TKO and 5 losses by sub. 36 years old. He's a karate-style stand-up. He'll use a lot of different kicks, especially with the lead leg. His takedown defense is really solid. The guy is strong for weight class. So is Kawajiri. And Siver lately has been something more of a grappler as of late. Going for takedowns, top control, even taking the back. Tough fight for me to call, honest truth. I can see the case for both these guys. I'm leaning towards Siver here. Siver last fought Conor McGregor and he lost. Kawajiri's coming off the loss last year to Clay Guida. I also hear that Kawajiri is not a fan of traveling, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how much of the travel from Japan to Germany, because this is in Germany, right, is going to affect these like Japanese fighters. I know it affects them when they go to the U.S. There's like jet lag and whatnot. So there's outside factors coming into this fight. Dennis Siver's from Germany, So he's right at home. Stylistically, it's interesting. I'm going to go with the idea that Siver can defend takedowns, outpoint Kawajiri on the feet, and maybe even try to get some takedowns of his own. So I'm going to go Dennis Siver by decision. Close fight, though. I definitely see if Kawajiri can get his takedown game consistently on Siver, I can definitely see him getting the win as well. Next fight after that, Peter Sobotta fights Steve Kennedy. So I watched one fight with Steve Kennedy. It was against Rodriguez. Manny Rodriguez. Won by Kimura. So Steve Kennedy, 22-6 record, 8 wins by KO TKO, 9 wins by sub. He has 2 losses by KO TKO and 4 losses by submission. 32 years old on a 7-fight win streak. It will be his first fight in the UFC, and he is taking this fight on short notice, replacing Sergio Moraes. From what I've read, he is supposed to be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and a national freestyle wrestling champion. He does have good boxing. I don't like that he drops his lead hand, and his overall grappling skills are good. Peter Sobotta, 14-4 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO TKO, 9 wins by sub, 28 years old on a 6-fight win streak. Good stand-up. He has some kick-heavy offense, and his overall grappling game is solid as well. Especially from top. He has good top control. He can stand top, land some ground and pound, and whatnot. Find the opportunistic sub. Tough to call. There are some things about Steve Kennedy I liked and didn't like in this fight. You know, like I said, he's dropped his lead hand. He did get taken down. You know, I hate to overgeneralize, but it has to be said. You see a good amount of, some Australian fighters haven't always had the best takedown defense and overall wrestling game. I always felt that's kind of behind. Despite him being a national freestyle wrestling champion, that I don't think that means he can't get taken down. So, and also, you know, it's his first fight in the UFC, and he's taking the fight on short notice. I'm going with Sobotta, just because he's just more experienced. He's fought in the UFC, there's no jitters. He's a bit more well-rounded, and probably actually going to be the best guy that Steve Kennedy has fought up until this point. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. So Peter Sobotta, decision. Next fight after that, Nick Hein fights Lukasz Wookie Sajewski. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Sajewski, 13-0, undefeated record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub. 24 years old. It's his first fight in the UFC. He actually has a notable win over Marcin Held. I watched that fight, actually. Defended the leg locks pretty well. Managed to hit some good ground and pound as Marcin Held was going for his leg locks. He also has a solid boxing game, and his overall grappling didn't look too bad. I saw another fight of his, too, against name I forgot. I think it was not his last fight, the fight before that. Nick Hein, 11-2 record with 1 no contest, 1 win by TKO, 4 wins by sub, 31 years old. He's got some strong judo. His stand-up's just average, and his cardio, it's not the greatest. He's really muscular guy, and he puts everything into his offense. So that just saps his cardio. When he throws a punch, it's with bad intentions, it's with a lot of power, and it kills his cardio. So this one's tough for me to say. I'm not going to lie. I kind of liked what I saw out of Sajewski. I saw his fight against Marcin Held, defended the leg locks and whatnot pretty well. And he fought another guy too. Showed some solid boxing. You know, just... It wasn't like spectacular by any stretch. I just thought it was solid boxing. And his overall grappling game's good. He can wrestle a bit, you know. He has some decent offensive takedown, but it's not that great, but it's not, terrible either. And he can work on the ground, you know. Tough one for me to call, because I'm not super high on Nick Hein either. Hometown advantage, though, goes to Nick Hein. You know, you go to Ireland or something, and it's like the Irish fight, they just get the boost from the crowd and whatnot. Tend to fight harder. I'm going to go with Nick Hein. I think he can get enough consistent takedowns on Sajewski, first of all. I think I would favor Sajewski in the stand-up just with output. I don't think he'll tire as quickly as Hein. But I can see Hein possibly catching Sajewski. So I'll go Nick Hein. I'll go by decision. Okay, on to the prelims. Makwan, Mr. Finland, Amirkhani fights Masio Fullen. Masio Fullen, 10-4 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub, 27 years old. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's a Taekwondo background. Kind of wild and reckless stand-up. His stand-up defense is not that great. His overall grappling is just kind of, decent at best. Amirkhani, 11-2 record, 1 win by TKO, 8 wins by sub, 26 years old, on a 2-fight win streak. He's a strong wrestler, but he does get really reckless, both in his stand-up and even on the ground. He will lose positions on the ground just by being so reckless at times, going for the submission before submission, for example, or just recklessly going for something. Stand-up is improving. You saw it in the Andy Ogle fight. Nice little flying knee to subsequent ground and pound. And Amirkhani has some really good front chokes. Actually choked out a top prospect in Tom Duquesnoy, if I'm not mistaken, by a front choke. And many find Duquesnoy to be one of the top prospects in MMA. Not gonna lie, I think this is the fact that Fullen is a replacement for someone else. I forgot who it was. And, we saw some pretty good performances from the Ultimate Fighter Latin America guys, Benitez and especially Yair Rodriguez. They kind of showed that they're UFC ready guys, and they're further ahead than, say, Tough China, maybe even further ahead than maybe even like some Australian prospects, arguably. I don't think Fullen is in that boat. I don't know if he's truly ready for that UFC level competition. Whereas Amirkhani beat Andy Ogle, who's a good enough guy to prove that you can find the UFC. I didn't like Fullen's recklessness in the stand-up. He was getting, in the first round especially, he got hit clean. He got dropped. I'm still wary of Fullen's grappling game. I'd assume that Amirkhani should have the superior grappling game. This could be a pretty wild fight, actually. I can see a lot of scrambling and some sloppy but fun stand-up, too. I'm going to go with Makwan Amirkhani to win by submission. I think he can get the fight to the ground. Hopefully get an opportunistic front choke or just some other type of submission on the ground. Should be a fun fight. I can't help but feel that this is something they like Mr. Finland. The UFC does. He's very charismatic. Very fun fighting style. Definitely someone that fans can get behind. And I can't help but feel going from like Andy Ogle to like an Ultimate Fighter Latin America guy. Not like the winners either. Like just one of the random dudes. It's kind of giving him a softball and like a very steady climb to the top. So Makwan Amirkhani by submission. Next fight after that, Alan Patrick fights Mairbek Taisumov. Patrick has a 12-0 undefeated record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub, 31 years old, training out of X Gym. He last fought John McDessie in February 2014, and fight I didn't think he should have won. Stand-up's actually pretty good. He's a good Muay Thai game. His takedown defense isn't too bad either. Taisumov, though, 23-5 record, 12 wins by KO TKO, 9 wins by sub at 26 years old on a 2-fight win streak. So he's got some strong stand-up. I mean, he will go for... See his last fight against Chris Dulu? Spinning kicks, everything, punches, different types of kicks and whatnot. Just some fun, a lot of variety in the stand-up. Got him one. Still have a question mark with his grappling because he fought Tractor Prazeres. It's one of those hulking Brazilian top control grinders. And Taisumov was just getting taken down over and over and grinded on over and over again. Don't think he should have a problem with the stand-up here. I feel that Taisumov is a superior striker. I'll go with Mairbek Taisumov by KO or TKO to win this one. Next fight after that, Niklas Backstrom fights Noad Lahat. Good fight here. Noad Lahat, 8-1 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub, 31 years old, training out of AKA. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and a very high-level one at that. His stand-up's actually pretty solid as well, and he does have a good judo game, if I'm not mistaken. I think he uses a lot of judo-style takedowns. Niklas Backstrom, 8-1 record with 1 no contest, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub, 25 years old, training out of All-Stars. A lot of guys train out of All-Stars, actually. It's Gustafsson will train there in Alliance, among others whose names I am forgetting at the moment. Stand-up's good, but man, did he get blasted by Mike Wilkinson in his last fight. What did he go for? A front kick and just got countered and knocked out cold. And his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game's good. He's really good in the transitional period. He's actually a pretty highly touted prospect too, and pretty big for the weight class. Good fight. Like I said, I tend to underestimate Noad Lahat a lot of times. He has ways of winning this. I'll go with Backstrom though. Tough to say. I'm actually going to go Backstrom. I think he can hang on the ground with Lahat. I think he can do some work in the stand-up against him as well. I'll go so far as Backstrom by KO or TKO on Lahat. Not super confident pick. I've underestimated Noad Lahat a couple times. I don't think I've actually picked one of his fights correctly yet. I picked him to lose against Siler, and he beat Siler. I picked him to win against Brazilian dude whose name escapes me at the moment. Picked him to win, and he got flying knee knocked out. But then Backstrom also got knocked out by Mike Wilkinson, And it's all both these guys have faced. Their one loss is by a highlight reel knockout. I'll go Backstrom here by not KO or TKO. It's tough for me to say how the fight will play out, though. That's the problem. So I'm not really doing a good job at specifying method or how the fight will turn out. Like I said, I think if the fight hits the ground, I can see scrambling ensuing. I would go so far as to say Backstrom might have the severe stand-up as well. And that's where I kind of see how he's going to win. So Niklas Backstrom, KO or TKO. Next fight that, Scott Askham fights Antonio Dos Santos Jr. Dos Santos Jr., 6-2 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 1 win by sub. Also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 26 years old. He's only a much shorter fighter as he's 5'10", whereas Askham is 6'3". He has some good stand-up, real good kicks. Guy's got tree trunks for legs. So had some good leg kicks. He's really heavy-handed too. He's a strong guy. Scott Askham, 12-1 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub, 27 years old. Like I said, he's 6'3". His strength is in his clinch strike, and he throws some really good knees, elbows, and also he'll break from the clinch and throw short punches when off the break on the clinch. His takedown defense has shown to be a bit questionable when he fought Magnus Sedenblad. Managed to actually rock him though, but Sedenblad managed to get the win on him. Santos Jr. fought Daniel Sarafian. It was actually looking like a pretty fun stand-up fight until he dislocated a finger. I actually rewatched Scott Askham's fight against Max Nunez. Won in pretty late in the fight, 4th round. Gone against the fence. Started to unload punches and knees and elbows and whatnot. Finished him off, downed him with a knee to the kidneys / rib area. and followed up with ground and pound. Still pretty high on Scott Askham. I think he's a top middleweight prospect. Still needs some work on his wrestling and whatnot. Shouldn't have to worry about that here. He's going to be the taller fighter. He did kind of reach in a couple times against Max Nunez, though. And he did get hit on the way in. Against a guy like Dos Santos Jr., not the best thing to do. This guy's got some real heavy hands. Nonetheless, I'll go with Scott Askham. You know what? I'll go by KO or TKO here, too. I'm going to say he's going to get those clinch strikes, get some of his knees and elbows, wear down Dos Santos, and eventually put him down. So, Scott Askham, KO or TKO. So after that, Piotr Hallmann fights Magomed Mustafaev. Mustafaev has an 11-1 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. His lone loss is by submission. He's 26 years old on a 10-fight win streak. He's never been past the second round. It is his first fight in the UFC. Trains out of Fight Club Beirut, but I believe, from what I heard, he's now training out of American Top Team. He is the number 2 welterweight prospect in the Bloody Elbow 2015 scouting report. He has a combat sambo background. I did actually see one of his fights. I forgot who the name of the guy is. It's on like the Sochi All-Star Cup or something like that. I like to stand up. His submission grappling is good. This guy will go for heel hooks and whatnot. Triangles off his back. His takedown defense actually didn't look that good. All things considered, considering his combat sambo background. I didn't actually like his takedown defense. The guy he fought was actually pretty aggressive. Managed to take him down. I think he got like this spinning back elbow and like won by like a cut stoppage. Dude, I think it was against Nurmagomedov. Not Habib, but his brother. I want to say it might have been him. No. I think it's the guy before that. Yeah, I think it's probably the guy before that. My bad. Wait, right? The video I saw it in, the names were in like, not in English, so I can't really read the names. Anyways, Piotr Hallmann, 15-3 record, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub, 27 years old. He's got some all-around good game. Just a stand-up solid. He's a good wrestler. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's game is solid as well. Managed to submit the likes of Eve Edwards and Massaran Duba. Actually had a bad first round against Massaran Duba. Got kicked to the body really hard, but managed to rally back. One thing about Hallmann, he's really game. This guy is into fighting at all times, man. He fought Gleison Tebow, and, he lost, like, what was it? Was it unanimous or split? One of those, Always into fight. Fought Al Quinta. Good solid prospect. Al Quinta. Same thing. Always in the fight, That's the thing with Hallmann. Always in the fight. Not gonna lie. I'm actually, I would actually think that Magomed Mustafaev is gonna have a lot of hype coming or a good amount of hype coming into this bout. He could win it. His offensive takedown ability is good. Like I said, I don't like his takedown defense. Striking's actually not too bad. He throws a lot of single strikes, which I don't like. It's a very sambo thing for him to do, but he is pretty accurate. Hallmann's just a good all-around fighter, and he's in the fight at all times, He can fight everywhere, in MMA. I'm going to go with Hallmann here. I think he's just going to be probably one of the more well-rounded, more experienced, still young, still 27, so it's not like he's past his prime or anything. Heck, he's probably still getting better. I just think this is a more well-rounded game. I can actually see him get Mustafaev to the ground. I can see him defending takedowns and whatnot. I can also just see Hallmann. Another thing he can do, he can outwork an opponent pretty well. So yeah, I'll go Piotr Hallmann. Probably by decision here. I think he can outwork Mustafaev. And finally, Taylor Lapilus fights Yuta Oka Sasaki. Sasaki has an 18-2 record with 2 draws, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. 25 years old. Name of his game is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has a really strong back take and back control. Stand-up's kind of average, though. Taylor Lapilus, 9-1 record, 6 wins by sub, 3 wins by decision, 23 years old, and a 4-fight win streak. Trains at a CrossFight. Like Christian and Pumbu trains there. I know Dukin was trained there as well. I actually liked Lapilus' his stand-up against Rocky Lee. I thought it was pretty solid. And he is a good grappler, too. Most of his wins are by submission. Actually, he has no KO or TKO wins. Despite, the fact that he has 6 wins by submission, I feel that Sasaki is just the superior grappler. I could see him getting the fight to the ground, possibly taking the back, and getting into submission. I feel that Lapilus is the better striker. He throws straight punches, throws in combination. Doesn't have the most pop in his hands, but, it's consistent. A bit basic, but consistent. He's only 23, so he could be very well improving. Same with Sasaki, they could be improving. I'd trust Lapilus, actually, to improve just a little more. I'm not too trusting of the gyms in Japan these days, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a lot of... the training environment is simply like, they'll practice like just stand-up, just wrestling, just jiu-jitsu, but they don't combine it all together, from what I heard. Sasaki did lose to, Leandro Issa in his last fight, but Leandro Issa's, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, he's really experienced. Lapilus is a lot less experienced, and like I said, I think Sasaki's just a superior grappler. So, Sasaki by submission. Okay, to recap, I have Joanna Jedrzejczyk beating Jessica Penne, Dennis Siver beating Tatsuya Kawajiri, Peter Sobotta over Steve Kendi, and Nick Hein over Lukasz Sajewski. On the Fight Pass prelims, I have Makwan Amirkhani over Masio Fullen, Mairbek Taisumov over Alan Patrick, Niklas Backstrom beating Noad Lahat, Scott Askham beating Antonio dos Santos Jr., Piotr Hallmann over Magomed Mustafaev, and Yuta Sasaki over Taylor Lapilus. So that's it for my predictions for UFC Fight Night 69, Jedrzejczyk versus Penne. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.